Despite Treasury Secretary Mnuchin's comments that an August deadline is unrealistic for tax reform, House Ways and Means Committee Chair, that's a committee that writes tax code, Kevin Brady, just told Neil Cavuto moments ago that we could see the blueprint for that kind of a tax reform sooner than later. Take a listen.
I think sooner, no question, is better. We have an aggressive timetable now. In fact, Ways and Means Committee will soon be announcing congressional hearings on our blueprint starting next week. And so, look, let's just plug away.
Former Congressional Budget Office Director Doug Holtz-Eakin, who's been involved in some of these scrums on taxes before, joins us now to weigh in. So I'm encouraged that the committee that writes tax code is actually going to be meeting next week. Does that mean that, okay, we may not make August, but at least we will have tax reform backdated to January 1, 2017?
It's certainly a good sign. I mean, the process has to get going. I've been concerned about what appears to be a lack of urgency on this front from the White House. The clock is ticking, and you and I both know that if tax reform bleeds into 2018, gets tied into the election, that's bad for the chances of getting it done. And I, for one, have no reason to count on Republicans controlling the House, the Senate, and the White House after the midterms. So, yeah, I'd say get going as fast as possible. And I'm pleased to hear the chairman's announcement.
This excuse that they have to do health care first, we heard it again from the president. He dropped it for a while. Now he's singing the same tune. The Wall Street Journal said yesterday not so. They wrote a piece saying budgetary savings from a health bill don't get plowed into the tax bill, so the lack of a health bill wouldn't necessarily change the tax bill math. There is also no requirement that the health bill come first. Is that right?
Mechanically, there's no reason why they have to come. Health has to come first. You can do them in any order. I think it comes down to the politics and whether politically you want to cut $1 trillion in taxes in the health care bill and leave that already as a fait accompli when you get to tax reform. But actually, if you think about it, there's no reason the Ways and Means Committee can't hold hearings. There's no reason why they can't mark up a bill and vote it out of the committee, get it to the floor of the House, and move on tax reform.
Well, apparently they are going to hold hearings, and that's encouraging.
That's a good thing.
I'm wondering, Doug, are the swamp creatures at work here? Are the lobbyists out in force trying to say, oh, well,
yes,
you may have reform, but we're going to keep our little benefit? Is that what's happening now?
Oh, I think it's more dangerous than that. I mean, you've heard voices arguing against the House bill on one grounds or another, and what those voices are essentially doing is saying, we don't want tax reform. We don't want to have a reform where multinationals can't cheat. We're okay with the economy growing at 2%. That kind of talk scares me. That's what 30 years has looked like. We don't do tax reform because of those voices.
Now, again, whose voices are these? Are these voices that are whispering in the hallways of Congress? Or are they more demonstrative than that, or what?
Oh, we've seen ads being run against the House blueprint. Look, you're allowed to not like the House blueprint, but the key here is to make sure the process goes forward. Don't try to stop things. Get the process going. Have an open public debate about what is and is not a fair amount of taxes, and let's get it over the finish line. I mean, you need to have something more than some business saying, oh, this isn't good for my bottom line. You need someone, the president would be ideal, to stand up and say, this economy can do better, it needs to do better, and this is what I came to Washington to accomplish.
Absolutely, and we, in fact, were promised a revolutionary tax reform that would simplify it for everybody and make tax rates come down across the board. We hope we get it. Doug Holtz-Eakin, we got to leave it at that, my friend. Thank you very much.